You see that analogy of being an Olympian and having all that. When she told me that, it made so much sense because I was like, who tells you that because you are alive, you're literally born, your parents wing it because they too are winging it at
Yeah.
life. They do their best, they pray to God for help, and then you land as an adult, and then you suddenly are expected to be amazing. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? So it's not strange to ask for help. Help could come in form of family, it could come in form of friends, it could come in form of coaches, therapists, doctors. The worst part for us in this time is that the world is spinning faster and faster. We're expected to perform more and more by the roles we play and the things that we do. And so we are even putting more pressure on ourselves. So you all need to just do that. And just say, look, whatever anybody says, I will be fine. Because really, what's the worst that will happen?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Queen Says, the podcast where we talk about everything that's happened to us since we left a wonderful secondary school called Queen's College back in the day. It's such an honor to meet alumni that I didn't meet in QC, but have gotten to get to know since then. And I really enjoyed the conversations. I really enjoyed connecting. I really enjoyed learning. And this is probably going to come across in this conversation that I have, but someone who I will allow introduce herself. As I can see her, she has such an amazing, radiant smile, and I feel like we have known each other for a long time. So, to our wonderful guest, I will ask you to introduce yourself by way of the first question. We have met at a QCOG reunion. Tell us about yourself in... Do you know what? Just tell us about yourself.
I wonder why you do want to limit the time. Okay. My name is Ify Okafor. I'm a wife, so a very wonderful man. I'm mom to 4 amazing children. And then I'm also a certified wholeness coach. I'm a digital parenting advocate and a multi-discipline manager at the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. Yes, it's a mouthful, but it is where I work. Yes, so I have my 95, I have my business, and I'm just me. Oh, by the way, I'm class of 1997. I should have said that first time.
Do you know what? I always forget to ask people. I forget that I'm talking to QC girls, reaching other QC girls. But yes, thank you. You are class of 97. What house were you in?
Open house is here. Open house is here.
Oh, gosh. I need to find somebody who was in Danfodio with me. I'm failing.
My sister was in Dalfodio, but she was a generation later. It's class of 2003.
It's a lie.
Yep.
2003?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, going back to you, you said you're a certified coach?
Yes, a certified wholeness coach.
Wholeness coach. So please tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so for context, I'll have to give a bit of background as to how I became a wholeness coach. So a few years ago, say about 5 years ago, I actually underwent extreme burnout. At the time, I knew that was what it was. I just knew that I wasn't myself. I was always upset. I was always feeling frustrated. I just didn't feel like it was me, right? I would cry myself to sleep for reasons I didn't know. I would be so brain fogged. So that was post-COVID. Before COVID had been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. I lost my mom in 2018. So I think I hadn't fully done all the grieving and the mental work I needed to do. And so COVID slammed, post-COVID PTSD slammed. And I just realized I just couldn't deal. I was always feeling overwhelmed. That was the biggest feeling I always had. And I had to always perform because in spite of all of this, I was going to work, albeit remotely most of the time because of my condition. I stumbled onto a podcast talking about managing overwhelm, or rather a webinar. And I was like, you know what? I'm all zoomed out. I'm not attending board. And then towards the day of the webinar, those lazy evenings that you just don't have anything to do and you just flipping through channels and, phone. And then I stumble on the webinar again and I'm like, if you know what, I'll just be listening to it while I'm doing other things. And so I put it on. And literally 5, 10 minutes into the webinar, I was like, oh my God, it's like she's talking to me directly. And so I listened. It happened to have been a coach from somebody called the Wholeness School. So the Wholeness School has the women's school, the man's school, and basically what they're trying to do is it's just how to be proper men and women. And the reason is, if you want to be an athlete, you would train. You will get a coach, you get a dietitian with all the support you need to be a premium athlete and probably an Olympian, right? Why is it that
I love
everybody
that.
has Zooms that you can just wake up and just know what
Yep.
to do, how to do it, when to do it,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
so,
Yep.
yeah. And so the women's school begins to go through a lot of questions. We call them worksheets because they will rake through your life if you do the work. But there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a series of assessments, questions that help you think through a lot of things. And you find out that you're stronger because your coaches will receive answers to help you deal with things that you didn't even realize you have put aside. In the middle of that process, I realized that I had to forgive people that probably didn't realize they needed my.
Wow.
Yeah, because they were probably just being them. And in being
Wow.
that, they bled over me. And it was either I hold on to that or I let it go so that I could be free. So in the process of all of that, about halfway through, I just had a light bulb moment that look, especially for those of us in Africa, with all the things that happens to you just to survive, talk less of being optimum, we needed this kind of program as women especially. And so I asked my coach, what would it take for me to become like you? And after I finished my program, I took a bit of a break and I went back in for the certification course. And then I became a certified wholeness coach with the wholeness school in Florida. And I'm the only Nigerian coach at the moment. Well, resident in Nigeria, yes. So I do this for other Nigerian women. I try to ensure that my cost is below the recommended pricing because finances is a real deal. And it's been so rewarding because I see what my coaches to see in me, other women. I see how they start the program, they'll be stressed. Sometimes they're not able to make eye contact. Sometimes they are hunched over without realizing they're hunched. But weeks into the program, you begin to see them, they're brighter, they're more upright, they're more confident, they're speaking in a more relaxed pattern. And a little voice in my head says, if you did that.
I love that. I love that. And it's so interesting because this past week has been particularly hard for me. I have felt like I have been performing, you know, have that smile, that mask deep down. I'm really struggling and I don't know why I'm struggling. I know I'm burnt out. And so the fact that there are people who have not just kind of recognized, but also there are things that we can do about it.
So, yeah.
It fills me with hope because sometimes when you're in these feelings and like I said, you feel like you have to perform or you don't want to burden other people because you think other people are going through similar things, you know, and just know that actually there are ways I can get myself out of this. And it isn't something that I have to dig deep within me. There are tools out there.
It was the same feeling I had when I started because if I hadn't attended the webinar, I wouldn't have been convinced that the lady knew what she was doing because just even in that webinar, I began to feel seen. And you see that analogy of being an Olympian and having all that. When she told me that, it made so much sense because I was like, who tells you that because you are alive, you're literally born, your parents wing it because they too are winging it at
Yeah.
life. They do their best, they pray to God for help, and then you learn as an adult, and then you suddenly are expected to be amazing. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
It does. It
Exactly.
does.
So it's not strange to ask for help. Help could come in form of family, it could come in form of friends, it could come in form of coaches, therapists, doctors. The worst part for us in this time is that the world is spinning faster and faster. We're expected to perform more and more. We
Yeah,
are
we are.
distracted by the roles we play and the things that we do. And so we are even putting more pressure on ourselves. So you all need to just do that. And just say, look, whatever anybody says, I will be fine. Because really, what's the worst that will happen?
True. Very true. Very true. At work, I say, if you don't send that email, no one's going to die.
Yeah. And you need to get this into the corporate space in a way that the corporates understand that when you have wholesome stuff, it performs better.
I agree. I went to a lecture a couple of years ago. There was a McKinsey report talking about how companies really should think of themselves as wellness companies because
Yeah,
their employees are with them for so long, for so much of their lives.
exactly.
And we can't just think about, oh, provide health insurance and you're covered. No, there is so much more in that space that they need to do, and it needs to be intentional. Because when you were talking about the course and doing the work and the questions, it did make me think this needs to be mandatory. I don't know if it'll be in secondary school or in university, church. It should be mandatory for
It
sure.
should be. It should be. In fact, I have my first is 17. She's done with secondary school. She's in A-level school. And I've told her, and she actually agreed. Once you're done with your A-level exams in May, you're going to start that wholeness school curriculum. And if you don't want me as your coach, which I mean, I get that. It will be awkward for her to want to discuss certain things with money.
Because sometimes mummies have whole dramas. And I was talking about how there's some things I still do to this day that I know I shouldn't do because my mother. So, for example, things like when I had natural hair, I would just comb my hair, and my mom was like, "Don't put it in the bin because a witch would come and make a spell out of it." So I flush it. To this day, in my 40s, I know it's not possible, but I still flush that thing down the toilet.
I actually do that, and I fought my jaws to do that too. I didn't tell everyone a witch, though. I just said, you really don't know what people will do with your DNA. So
That's so funny.
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? But it's so entrenched in our system that a little voice is telling me, okay, there's no witch here, but they are human beings with evil intentions. Why are you just being careless? What do they lose if they wrap it up in tissue? Oh,
Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But no, I think it's good that you are getting your daughter to do it. And I think maybe we can kind of have another discussion because it is really important. I know we often joke and say life is lifing or adulting is a scam, and we say it, but we don't actually do anything about it. Okay, well, anyway, let's get into this. What would you say to yourself as a JS1 girl about to start Queen's College?
okay. First of all, I didn't start Queen's College on day one. I went to Nigerian Navy for a term and a half. Little information, my mother taught in that school. She was one of the founding teachers, and she left like a year before I got in there. There was a lot of drama when I got in there. And I look exactly like my mom. So everyone, they'll just stop me and be like, are you Mrs. Wilson's daughter? And so by the time I left and I came to QC, I was so happy because I was like, finally, the school where I can just belong to and nobody's just going to know me. I got in there, skinny, tall, yellow girl, and everybody was like, I need to know this person. I need to know this person. And guess what? My mom had moved to YA then, and so she knew the entire English department.
No.
And some of them in French.
Oh, mothers.
What would I have told that little girl coming into QC? Number one, don't be afraid to be yourself. You don't have to make everybody love you or be happy with you. You're an amazing person, even when you don't perform. You don't have to be responsible for everybody, right? And you don't have to set the tone for your siblings and your cousins. So another fact, first child in my family,
Yeah.
First grandchild on my mother's side, first grandchild on my father's side.
Wow.
So everybody was after me. And there was always that thing of, like, yeah, that if I could redo it again, I would tell myself, this is an opportunity to go have fun. I was a good student, but nah. I rebelled a bit, but I tell people I'm a corporate rebel. So you wouldn't know I was running rebelling, but I was with this nothing, nothing.
In the background, instigator.
So, yes, dear Ify, have fun. Have so much fun. Bend its few rules. Break the ones that you can get away with. And then trust God a bit more. Trust him a bit more. You don't have to have all the control. Just let me guide you and trust that. I mean, he created the entire world, so
Yeah.
I'll take care of you.
What you said about have fun,
Mm.
and it's not important that everybody likes you. Do you think that is because you were the first of your generation? Or do you think that's just your nature?
So, I used to be someone who avoided conflict. I'm a reformed people pleaser. So I don't know if that's tied to being best of my generation. I don't think so. I just think it's my nature. Probably because I felt like conflict meant not liking me, right?
Ah.
But now, you will all be all right. You will all be all right. If this is what I think, and I believe in it strongly, after all the work I've done with myself, if you don't like it, I get it. I understand it. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, but we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. Um, the thing about avoiding conflict, I was the same. I think for two reasons. One, because I couldn't really be bothered, but also because my mouth wasn't sharp.
Mm.
I couldn't think of insults fast enough.
Fast enough. Did this used to happen to you where you'd be in a confrontation, you wouldn't have much to say. I mean, after the confrontation, you had this heartfelt responses to everything that was there. And you're like,
And
ah,
before the conversation, and before
yes,
the conversation as well, I know
no,
everything. Yes.
exactly. And then as soon as conversation starts, I don't know if it's emotions, if it's panic, everything just goes out of your head. So now I don't have to win. I don't have to have the perfect statements. I just say what I feel politely.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, oh, sorry. I have to tell myself to stop saying sorry. And I think it's from our culture. We're always so differential to everyone. So you're grateful, you're apologizing, you're genuflecting. And those things are good. Don't get me wrong, they're excellent. But there's a time and place for it.
I wonder if it's more of a gender thing. The
That
person
too.
who stopped me from saying sorry was Nina Hinchcliffe.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
and she'd be like, "What are you saying sorry for? Like, did you do something wrong? Am I offended?" And she was like, and she used to say, "Don't, if you say sorry one more time, I will give you something to be sorry about."
I was just sorry.
Gosh. So if we jump forward to if you're at 25, what would you say to yourself?
Hmm. Girl, why were you in such a hurry to get married? That wasn't the plan.
Oh, I was not
So,
expecting that.
yeah, I was married and I was expecting my first.
I mean, I say that my mouth is open, and I don't mean it to be. I'm so sorry.
I
And,
know.
but I think it's also because when I think about growing up at work, we went to school, you went to university, you got a job, and you got married, like like
So I
So
got married and then I got pregnant. Then I got a job. Then I had a baby.
wow,
It was crazy.
that's a lot happened in
A
relatively
lot,
short space of time.
yeah, a whole lot happened. It wasn't bad. It was just a whole lot, right?
Mm,
And it didn't have to be. I mean, I met this good guy and he was ready to settle down. He was a bit older. I could have gotten to wait if I wanted to. I hope he's not going to listen to this. So, not wanting to get married at 25, now benefit of hindsight, Now, it's not about not loving the person enough, but
Mm.
there was no rush. So I went from my dad's house to my husband's house. I had NYSC camp in the middle of all of that, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, I wish that I got to experience what it was like to maybe just leave.
It's one thing to say, I want this to happen, but then you also have to think about making sure that I am prepared for when it comes. I guess there's an element of thinking about what it would entail in its entirety.
For example, carrying a 10-day-old child to your first job.
Shut
Oh,
up. I'm sorry, I don't
yeah.
need to be rude, but seriously.
I had no option. So it was just hectic. I was applying for this job and there were delays. Then I get pregnant and there's still delays. And then they give me the job. And then we call somebody in HR and they're like, oh, just come and register that we'll make sure they put me in the last part of the induction. Now, what we assumed was that that meant that once I just come in, register that first way, then I wouldn't have to come to work until about February when the induction will take place. Stories. I came in that first day. My grandma was in the car with my baby and the help. I had bottles of expressed milk in the in the warm-up. I dashed upstairs and then I see this sea of human beings all here ready to register. And I'm like, okay. All I was calculating was, let's see, how are we going to register in the fastest possible way so that the child does not starve?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have, and of course, remember, oh, 10 days after a delivery, so I was also sore and tender and tired.
Yeah.
And, and I was trying to make sense of all the chaos. And then I saw the woman who was registering. She's still one of my favorite people till whenever. But I saw that she was talking to people from time to time. Like, so people will walk up to her, say certain things. She would say, "Could you do this?" I go. Well, she would continue the process. So I decided to take it out. And I went to her and I said, "Ma'am, first, my baby is in the car. My baby is 10 days old." And she goes, I'm like, "Yes, now." So I'm like, "Please bring her up with us now." So I do all
No.
this. And she's like, "Oh, you don't have this. You don't have that. You don't have that." Now, you know what she will do? Go home now. Tomorrow, come with all the papers. And when you come, just walk up straight to me. And then I will take care of that. So I go home with my baby. Then I get dressed the following day. And I repeat the whole thing. But I mean, this time I was hopeful because she was waiting.
Yeah.
I got there. I walked right to the front of the line, gave her the documents, and she concluded my registration. She now says, "Go to second floor, just go and report." So all I was thinking was, oh, once I do that, then I'm going home for the next few weeks. And then next thing, the secretary there takes my papers, finds and she says, "Okay, you're going to room 207. Yeah, reporting to so person, you start work today."
Eh?
Oh, exactly. That was exactly what I was like, oh. She was like, "What now?" I was like, "Ma, I have a baby in the car. They told me I was doing induction with the last, but she just makes familiar. She just felt so bad." She's like,
Wow.
so he says, "You know what? Just let's go and report to your gaffer, then come back." Then I came back, I explained to the head of the division. He said, "Okay, you know what? Let's try. Maybe you come to work 2 times a week for now. Then we'll see how
Okay.
it goes." Okay. Then at least that was it for that week. I came the next week. I was having busy spells. My second time I came to work, I just walked straight in the office and I said, "Sir, I don't know if I'm being greedy or anything, but this is just not working for me. I'm just not myself." And I'd done medicals and they noted a slight spike in my BP. And I'm not somebody to have high BP. My BP is usually on the lower spectrum of things. So that meant the stress was a lot.
Yeah.
And so the man goes, "You know what? We didn't even going about this the wrong way. Give me a moment." And he picks up the phone, he calls the doctor because there was an in-house floor. And she says, "Look, I have one of the new staff here. She's a new mother. She's not coping well." Then the doctor goes, "What's her name?" Tells him my name. And he says, "Oh, yes, I remember her. Yeah, her BP was even a bit high." Okay. So what can we do for her? Long and short, guess what? They do all the paperwork and they say, go on maternity leave with half pay. And like, you mean I still even get paid at all?
Oh, that's lovely.
And that's how I started corporate life, with a bang and drama and bells and whistle. I got to know the head of corporate, the head of staff welfare, all of that.
Yeah. Gosh, all depends on the people that are around at the time, because you could have met some people who were very different, who were not
Exactly.
empathetic, who were not kind, you know?
But then again, I don't know value, but me, I advocate for myself. The worst that can happen is you say no. Imagine if I didn't go to say I couldn't cope. Imagine if I was just trying to cope. I might have had some health issues along the way. So I tell people, advocate for yourself. Learn all you need to learn, know all you need to know, and then just make your case in a polite manner. And you lose nothing because you're already in the no position anyway.
Agree. So, if you were to redo everything, what would be the order?
Well, no particular order, but yeah, get engaged, get a job. That would be nice. I mean, you have the man on lock, you have the job on lock, and we can start to care from the family life. But that's my logical mind thinking.
Mm.
Perhaps if I got engaged and got the job, who knows if I would have ended up getting married. I work in a male-dominated environment, and I thank God that I was a married woman coming into this job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it made some things very easy.
In terms of people respected you more? Because I know when I got married, I went from just being Editor to Mrs. O. Like straight away, I noticed a difference in how people addressed me.
Yes, that's one side of it. The other side of it, well, you decide how you want to play this, but the men, the minute they know you're married, they just put their swords back in their seat. So, 35-year-old Ify, they can have more fun.
Yeah.
Life won't break if your bed sheet is not tucking this way or your house is not looking that way. Dance more. I love dancing. I wish I had danced more. Go out more. I would have said make more married friends, but considering that I was amongst the first.
Yeah, 25, 20,
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, so for 5 days, it was just one or two of us. I started working at 27. But tell 25-year-old Ify that whenever you start working, no matter how little your income is, start investing. No matter how low. I would have been a billionaire by now.
I felt the exact same way. I should have saved. I should have invested.
So whenever I have young staff coming into my team, I nag them until they do something because I wish I had somebody nagging me the way I'm nagging you now.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I had so much money to play around with. But if I knew the magnitude of the responsibility that were coming down the line and the way the world was going to flip on its head, I would have taken it more seriously.
You know, it's so interesting. Earlier today, I was on Instagram and there was a woman who had said, remember that your future you is looking at you. And that struck a nerve. I don't know if at 25 you would have appreciated that, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't have, if I had a way, I would have told her, appreciate it.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it, you just have to do it.
I agree.
There's a saying one of my coaches says, he says, you do what you have to do, even if you don't like it, at the highest level, because that's what winners do.
Wow.
The spirit of excellence. So it's not about whether you like it or not, you'll be excellent at it. So I would have told myself to be excellent at the investing. It's not about whether it's convenient or not. It's just what you got to be done.
That's so interesting because I've been looking at the story of Joseph in the Bible. You know, and even though he wasn't where he wanted to be, he did things with that spirit of excellence.
I like the way you just tied that right up. Perfect.
Thank you for
Yes. So now, whenever I bring up that analogy, someone is resisting. I'll say, look at Joseph. If the embodiment of that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. Your 10 brothers sold you. You were betrayed by your boss's wife. And then the people you helped in jail forgot about you. And yet, you still perfectly obstinate.
Yeah, and see how it paid off.
That-
Because if it was me, I'd be abused and be abusing people that it would. Man. All right. So, 35, what
Hmm,
would you say to yourself
hmm.
as a 35-year-old?
Slow down, slow
There's a
down, slow
theme
down.
here. There's a theme. When you were in QC, it was like have more fun. 25, it was also have fun, slow down. 35, slow.
Slow down a lot more. Let's see. At 35, 2016. My first was already 8. My second was 6. My third was 5. And I had a 2-year-old baby.
Oh, get them out the
Oh,
way.
oh. It was just a lot.
So
It was
that's
a
4
lot.
children under 10.
4 children under 9.
Under
8.
9.
Yeah, yeah. I had 4 children under 6. Oh, well, 6 and under. Yeah, at the time.
And you were young, if you think about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then I had a mom with a medical condition. So her care,
Hmm.
her care was really large in our life. She'd had that condition as far back as TC. And it just, degenerated and it was just a lose against thankfully. Knowing all of that, one would imagine that even if we wanted to have 4 children, we would slow the pace. But no, this young child wanted to have 3 children. And when she had the second one, she had this brainwave. Why not just pick you have the third one so that you're done with that person? And God is just sitting there laughing like, what's that? Is that what you're saying? Okay. And then I have my third child. I had 3 children before I was 30. So my 30th birthday, I called it my emancipation party.
Emancipation.
I mean, I love having my children, but I had 4 high-risk babies.
Wow.
Yeah. So by the third time, I was like, I've done the third one. I have a boy, I have 2 girls, nothing left to do. Let's party. I was like, okay, time to raise the children. I've fixed my career. 2 years down the line, I found myself with another bump. I'm like, okay. I literally told the doctor I can't deal with this. As at that time, I had given out everything baby in my house.
Oh, wow. So you have done.
I was done. So I didn't even have the mental capacity to deal with that baby. And then 6 weeks into the pregnancy, so I always know when I'm pregnant. As early as 6 weeks, I know. You make a scan and there's no heartbeat.
What?
Yeah. And I didn't know how to feel about that because I was now feeling guilty. And then the doctor says, you know what? The next hospital they say next week, come with Mr. Okafor. I'm like, My husband's like, what does he want to see me for? If there was anything wrong, he should have told you. I'm not fool. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to get in the way of that because, see, my gynecologist was a very territorial person. He would tell you his patient is the mother. Yes, we're going to do everything we can to bring the baby safely, but his patient is the mother. And so he will fight fathers on behalf of mothers. And then we get to the hospital. I'm not talking because I'm still dazed. And the doctor says, well, so he hadn't told me that there was no heartbeat. And he goes, so we didn't see a heartbeat.
My gosh.
And I'm just like this. I'm not even talking. There's all the things going on in my mind. And then my husband is like, so what are we going to do? He says, well, we may have to take it out. My husband and I,
No.
He's like, we have to give this baby more time. My doctor is like, no, we cannot afford to give this baby more time. My husband says, no, we have to give this baby up to 1 month. The doctor says by 1 month, this baby would have killed your wife.
Oh my gosh. A real battle.
My husband goes, okay, what's up? 2 weeks. My doctor is like, Mr. Careful, I will give you 1 more week. After that, the baby is coming out. So we come out, and then as we're going out, we meet Dr. Adadiva. So Dr. Adadiva of the Ebola era, she was my physician, and she was just such a darling. And she saw us, she could tell that something was up. And she said, let's get to my office. And we get there and we tell her everything. And she said, let me tell you something. I've lost a baby, so I know. and I've had a score. And the truth of the matter is, babies will come or they will go. There's nothing we can do about it. I want you to just go and relax. If this baby is meant to be, by this time next week, we'll be thanking God. If it's not meant to be, we'll do what we need to do. I will still have other children. So she put it in a perspective that allowed us to just,
Yeah.
So I came back the following week and then the heartbeat was gone. We just kept going. And then after tomorrow, I had I had a blood clot in my lung.
A blood clot in your lungs.
With a baby in my tummy. So, that's the only factor. It was 10 hectic days in the hospital, but I came out alive. And the doctor says, look, we might need to prep because we may need to take this baby out sooner than we need to be, just to be sure that you are stable. And so I was going to the hospital every day. We're taking the pregnancy week on week. And I was injecting myself in the 5 every day for 9 weeks.
Ooh.
And I would come, they would do all the tests. It was okay, let's try for 1 more week. So the negotiation was, how long can we give this baby to mature without compromising my own health? And that was what it was. And all through this battle, we battled for 9 weeks. Eventually, the baby came out at 38 weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. And he's such a delight. He's such a delight. He was meant to be.
Amazing. As you were talking towards the end, I was thinking, oh my gosh, all the things that mothers go through.
I don't need to give my children warning. I am going to be an old, healthy age because I'm coming to stress you. I'm going to be that mother that when you graduate, they will wonder, who is she? They will make a reel out of me. I'm going to be that mother that when you're getting married, I will embarrass you.
As I look at you and the fact that you're smiling so brightly, I mean, I know you've been through a lot, but as you said, you have 4 beautiful children. You have been guided and protected and strengthened and encouraged and nourished along the way.
Yep. Yeah. I tell people that sometimes God is choosing some of us to go through with things so that we can educate the others on what not to do. And I tell people I'm an excellent student. So whenever I go through all the options, the next time someone is coming, I'm like, see, don't do this, do this.
Yeah.
Don't do this, do that. So anytime something is going, wonky, I just look up, I'm like, really? It's like, seriously, do I have to be the person that had to go through all of this drama so that I can educate every other person coming behind? And I can actually get in saying, well, you're doing so well. I've just resigned myself to it. When I see chaos, I'm like, it's all right. It'll be fine. The results will come out at the end anyway, so let's just keep going.
Very true. I love that perspective. And I think it's really healthy when we look back and understand the things that we have gone through, that when things come forward, you're like, okay, all right, here we go.
Exactly. When you look back, I know many of us don't look back, because if you look back objectively, you'll be thankful for who you are today. So look back, look back, look at the things you've done, look at things you've not done.
Yep.
I think be grateful that you're still here. Many are not.
So 30s slow down. Had you started having fun? At what point did you start having fun?
I have started having a little fun.
I like how she says a little fun and there's nothing in, she's doing like the fingers thing and there's nothing in between her fingers. There's like no space. So I don't know what you mean by when
you got that. So yes, remember at 35, I had a 2-year-old.
Yep.
So fun is relative, and I'm a very hands-on mom. So until my children get into school, I don't have a liking food.
Yeah.
So I started having just a little fun, but most of the fun was in my body.
Oh, that perfect segue to the questions. What is Ify saying to herself today?
Today? You go, girl.
I love that.
Well done. You turning this all around. You balanced your life. You have a great kids. You have a great family. You have fantastic friends. Excellent job. You are running a global business. You are a multi-award winning coach.
I saw that on your website. Amazing. Multi-award winning. Go on, girl.
Yeah, just keep going. And once in a while, just remember it will be fine. And just keep going. That's it.
So I have to ask, you are now a reformed people pleaser. How does that show up in who you are today? And do you think having that unapologetic attitude in terms of this is who I am has helped you be this amazing woman that you are today?
Girl, it is not in my calendar. It doesn't exist. So your lack of planning ain't gonna be my source of emergency. I'm sorry. I work. I run a business, but my family is my priority, and I'm very unapologetic about that. My Sundays are for my family, and that's how I can dig in, go to work, come back, have 1 or 2, 3 hours buffer, then have my clients. So I need to make sure that my children know that Sunday is their time. Then the few hours, here and there, and they know those pockets of hours because we had these conversations. And then when I'm on leave, oh God, see, if you're calling me, I will get to you when I get to you, unapologetically.
I love that.
And it's not because those things are not important, but it's because I have told you I'm on leave. I always announce when I'm going on leave. I am resting. I am having fun with my family. Stick to your boundaries. There are certain people I will not call before 9 a.m., no matter what I see on my phone or my mail. Because the minute you set that culture, those things will come to you too early. My workplace starts at 7:30, right? That means that there are certain people that no matter what is going on, once it's 7:31, I'm available to go.
Yeah.
So as human beings, if you want to gain a lot at your best self, you need to have boundaries. My coaches will tell you boundaries destructively. So I'm no longer even apologetic about it. I will give you my availability. You can work with it, fine.
Boundaries set you free.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I really like the perspective which you've given it, because sometimes when you talk about boundaries, it makes it seem as if you're being selfish. And it's actually, you get to exhale, you get to relax.
Yeah, and you see, the way you communicate is also makes a difference. You have to communicate it with grace. And then you also have to understand that everything is not cast in stone. So where you can, wiggle. But when bending your boundaries becomes the norm, then you need to do something about it. You should have some structure to your day. That's what helps you know that, okay, if I can just make it to 5 p.m., I'm done. But there are people who would, as you're trying to make it to 5 p.m., someone barges into your space. Oh, please, can you just help me quickly? Okay, you know what we could do? I can't attend to this now, but if you give me an hour, I'll be able to attend to you. Is that fine? Right?
Yeah.
And of course, if it's your boss, you can't just tell your boss if you give me an hour. Your boss's time in the office. you have to know how to manage it. But what I've stopped doing is starting the administrative part of my work after work. I was doing most of the people management during working hours. And then after work, I would have to now sit down and do the paperwork. I don't do that anymore. I look at what I have to do, I structure it out, I do my paperwork first thing in the morning, and then I do the people management afterwards when my energies are lower.
Interesting. That is really helpful, especially nowadays where, because of our phones and all the apps, where you can be switched on 24/7.
You can be switched on 24/7, and it's not easy. So for me, for example, for social media, I have my timers on. For Instagram, my quota in a day is 30 minutes. Most days, I don't even go into Instagram. I'm there. I have a presence.
Yeah.
I have a page. But because I'm sensitive to the amount of time I do it, I don't get sucked in. And even if I do get sucked in, my mind is there to tell me, hey, there are 5 more minutes. You know?
You've just
It
reminded
helps.
me. I think it was for Lent a couple of years ago. I went off social media and I found it so freeing. I was like, this is great. I loved it. And I came back on and I set a timer of 30 minutes. And then I think I got a new phone and I didn't carry that across. So I'm now just all over the up and down.
It's difficult. Really, most people can't discipline themselves to sticking to a certain time. And I know what I tell people is this. Those apps are built to supplement me. People are paid to do research to see how do people like Ify paint, how do people like Editor. Okay, what are people going to put in what timeline? That's someone's job, right? So your job is to look for how best to still be present online without being sucked in. I call it digital wholesomeness, right? Leverage tech, but don't let it, overwhelm you.
Me and the listeners are getting like a free coaching session, but we are here for it. So thank you very much. Jumping forward to 20 something years, what would Ify like to say to her 65-year-old self?
Well, we thought we were going to impact the world and we did it. You did it. You are now a leader, a global leader. You are the matriarch of your clan, like you said, Ify. You're a grandma now.
Amen.
And that square table looks so amazing. Oh, yes. So let me explain the square table. I have been beginning of this year, towards the end of last year, I've been having this dream about a massive square dining table. I even have an idea of how it's going to be built and structured. And I want to have a square table with 5 seats on each side so that we're closer to each other, not the nasty long rectangular one.
Where you're
like
straining your neck to look down. Yeah.
And we're going to have a chandelier with cameras in the middle and then TVs on each of the walls so that my children all over the world and my nieces and nephews of whatever timeline, because we're going to be having Sunday lunch at Big Mama Ify's house.
Big Mama Ify's house.
And so I used to have this picture of somebody I knew standing beside me talking to a white carpenter, a white man who was a carpenter, and was describing this table. Recently, I realized that it was my son. Right? Yeah. And so I want at least 20 people on Sunday.
I love that.
And I want my children to be there. And if one even get are able to be there, they can zoom in. If they're having breakfast, have breakfast while we're having lunch. All be noisy and chatting and catching up. No phones allowed. We would drop your phone at the table side there.
Continuing your theme of Sunday as for families.
Yeah. So, girl, well done. Well done. That's all I have to say. We are here. You're helping. You have run your first marathon.
First? Okay.
Because, see, I put my running a marathon on my bucket list this year, and I was shaking as I was writing. But if I ever get to run a marathon, I will, not survive, I will run a marathon. I will.
You will.
I'm still anti-running.
I'm with you. I'm like, unless I'm running somewhere, why don't you see the point in it?
So my dad is 81. He goes on walks every day, every blessed day. Whenever he can, he does up to 10 flights of staircases. And he says simply, whenever he's walking, it's an evidence of this is his level of health. No longer able to go on a walk there, his health has declined to that point. And so it gave me a perspective about, so if you can run, why aren't you running?
I am sitting here nodding my head. No, because I was talking to a friend earlier today. I don't know how it came up. I think she was talking about like her lower back was hurting, and I was talking about importance of stretching. And I'm embarrassed to say, considering I'm in my mid-40s, when something falls on the floor, I look at it now and I'm like, do I want to bend down? Like, really? I'm so conscious of the fact that I am bending down. I'm not even 50.
Exactly. And so when someone that's 81 is telling you that the ability to go on walks every day, and he doesn't stroll, he's a brisk walker. One of my friends who used to walk a lot, she's moved out of my area, but she said sometimes she will see my dad when she goes on her own walks and she will struggle to catch up. So yes, by 65, I should have done at least one marathon.
Agree.
I should have.
And you've said it here for the whole world to hear now. and we will
Yes.
come back and ask you, how did it go?
Lord, I don't even want to know how it will go, but it will go
It will
well. It will
go.
go
It
well.
will go.
Yeah, go.
It will go well.
What else would I have done at 55? I would have built.
Say it. Say it. Say it.
I would say, but I'm leaving it open to God to decide. But I have this passion in my heart to build somewhere called Mama School, and it will be in memory of my mom, and it will be a sanctuary for those who have certain autoimmune conditions and for their families, mostly for their families, because if there's one thing that happened from my mom's experience, you find out that there's little or no information as to how to support somebody in that situation.
Mm,
And I'm now somebody in that situation. The
mm.
reason I'm able to support myself is because I know a lot about it. But many people don't know a lot about it. We didn't even have a diagnosis for my mom for the first 6 years, and by then a lot had settled. So I want to be able to build somewhere that would be a support system.
I know we started off by talking about being a wholeness coach and discussions and course like that being mandatory. And I think it's in the same vein as what you've just said, that you're supposed to know what to do in any given situation, even if you've never been in it before.
Uh-huh.
So that
Yeah.
there's definitely a need. So what are the things that you wish women spoke about more?
Mental loads.
Hmm.
Many of us women are raised to assume that we're responsible for caring for the home, we're responsible for caring. And you see, the problem is, it's not a bad thing. By nature, we're naturalists. But you see, what most people don't get is that it comes with a lot of mental living. So I hear all those memes where they say, Mom, where is this? Mom, where is that? Mom, give me that. Then there's one that shows, Dad, where is this? And then that shows, ask Mom,
I know we laugh, but it's so true.
look, as women, we carry a lot of mental. Yes, we're created to be um versatile, multitasker. But I find that as we get older, we actually want to just be slow. We're no longer patient role things that don't serve us.
Mm.
And the people in our lives begin to think, why is she thinking? What wrong with her?
Not
But I mean,
knowing that.
but you've been carrying this for so long and you're just tired of carrying it. And unfortunately, because it's not a physical thing, most women can't even articulate it properly. It just seen as being possible and unreasonable. And
Mm.
I had the idea of what it was, but I didn't know I have a name for it until I watched some guy on his page, how he teaches men to help the women in their lives reduce their mental load. So, for example, you wear a shirt, you take off the shirt, you hang it on the wardrobe, and then the following day you want to wear the same shirt. Without even looking at the wardrobe, you turn to your wife and you say, please, do you know where my red shirt is? And then she's supposed to, so let me paint the picture. She's supposed to now sit down and meet all the other things already in her head. To you, it's just your red shirt. Come on, she just say, but for her, she's supposed to, first of all, detach from whatever she's doing, then recall yesterday,
Yeah.
recall where she saw you wearing the shirt yesterday. Then recall where she saw you hang the shirt. And then tell you. And then somehow go back to what she was doing. And she's supposed to do that maybe 500 times, maybe, because after you've gone, the little one is going to come, the boss is going to be somewhere, the friend, and so on and so
And
on.
you as well.
And you, of course. I mean, you have me. And that again speaks to what we talk about boundaries. I don't sleep with an alarm anymore. I'm not saying anybody should do it, so please. Alarms trigger me, and my body is already trying to wake up at certain hours of the day. So I was like, you know what? Take that bold step. I just set up the alarm. So I only put on an alarm if I have a really critical thing to do early in the morning or at whatever time. But now I wake up. Sometimes I don't get out of bed for an hour. I just mentally plan my day. And then I have a little notepad by my bed. And I put down homes. and then I say my prayers, and then I stop. And I always feel better.
I do not. Quite someone, I'm complete opposite. As you mentioned, I love sleeping. I really do need the alarm clock. Otherwise, I will naturally wake up at around 10:30. Anyway, so mental load, I totally agree with you. Mental load is something that we need to talk about and acknowledge that it's a thing, and there are things we can do
Yep.
to ease it. And we don't have to do it alone.
No, we don't. No. And we need to teach our children how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I tell my kids, especially when they're getting ready for exams or tests, I see them really stressed. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. How much have you read? How much have you done? Like, oh, I've done this, I've done this. I'm like, okay, you know what, man? We're going to set the alarm. 30 minutes. It's 2 by 1 hour. Close your books. Put your phone face down. And just lie down and just zone out. If you don't want to zone out, we could just read a book, but just do anything but study. Don't worry, your alarm is going to ring in 30 minutes time. People underestimate the power of the rightful use of an alarm. If you're using an alarm in this manner, it frees you to be more focused on whatever it is.
Very true.
Yeah, because it means that it's time, it would alert you. So you don't need to worry about is it time up, is it time up? And then when they come back, I'm like, how do you feel? A bit better. I'm like, you want to go back or you want more time? You're like, I think I can go back now. I don't want to call them soft skills, life skills that we need, that we really didn't know we needed. But as an adult now, since I see them and I need them, I'm intentional to teach them to my children. You know, the art of just being bored, taking time out, time management, healthy eating, drinking water, sleeping, and then even taking a break. I pulled my kids out of school simply because sometimes I wake up at your eyes and I'm like, you all have bags under your eyes. So, does anybody have any tests today? Well, I don't ask because I would already know, but if they don't have any tests, guys, you're all staying at home today. And I call all the necessity cares. And I tell them they're not feeling well because as far from concerned, if you're a young child and you have bags under your eyes, you're definitely not feeling well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So they stay home, they rest, and then we make arrangements to copy all the necessary notes. And like, yes,
And do you do the same for yourself?
yes, I try to do the same for myself. But it's tougher as an adult to do it simply because there's nobody to explain to my boss why I'm the one that right. But I still do that if I'm able to, and that's why I guard my returns jealous. I disconnect. So, for example, once we're done with this, I'm done for the rest of the day. So,
Well, thank you for letting us be part of Ify's Day.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you. So we're almost done, but not quite yet. So we have the last round, which is called Rapid Fire. Are you ready? Sweet or savory?
Sweet, always.
Always, right?
Always, man.
No question.
No.
What is the one song, book, or film that you can listen to, read, watch over and over again?
So I can watch Suits over and over. Like I was literally telling my husband last week that I could listen to the dialogue without the screen. The screen makes it better, but the dialogue, oh my God, I love it.
Who is your person? Is it Harvey Specter? Is it Mike Ross? Because their dynamic is fantastic.
Yes, their dynamic is fantastic. I love them, but I also love, what's the lady, the black lady?
Oh, what was her name? I know the one, the partner. Yeah.
The partner. Yeah, she just handled her business so well. Oh, God.
And she always looked amazing. She would never look stressed, never look sweaty.
Nope, not her hair.
Not her hair.
And our seats. God.
Oh, God, that's true. Where'd you do your best thinking?
On my day.
And my favorite one, which is, what's the best compliment you've ever received?
you're very patient. And wow, there's a story behind that. I was never the patient person. The first time someone said I was very patient, I thought they were joking. I thought they were being sarcastic. Patience for me was hard one. It was even a battle between me and God at a point. And I told him I wanted something done so bad, and I was praying, praying, praying. And then one day I just said, you know what? I'm not going to pray about this anymore. So if there's anything you want me to learn from this process, just let me know so that I'll just get it moving because this is just God awful. And one day I had that thing of, you just need to be patient. And so every time if situation came up, I'll really outside and I'll be like, okay. And gradually I became a patient person. And so when nowadays when people say you're very patient, I my because it's a battle I won. And then some people go ahead and say, oh, I used to have a patient like you. I'm like, oh, look out for what you're asking for. Because this patient, I have to sweat for it. So are you ready to sweat with it? No.
Oh, and that is a brilliant way to end our little chat. Elfie, thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
my pleasure. I said, thank you. I had fun doing that.
I knew I was going to enjoy it. I didn't know why I was going to enjoy it so much, but I think I've enjoyed it way more than I thought. And there's so much you have taught me, so much for me to reflect on, and a lot of things that for me to start implementing as well. So thank you.
Oh, that's my pleasure. That's my pleasure. I guess that's what comes from being the daughter of two people, right? You always teach people stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you to your parents too. And I'll speak to you again soon. We need to check back in when you're in your 60s about your marathon. I will put it in the diary now.
So now that, oh my God, now that it's out there, I have to.
You have to do it.
Listening to Ify made me realise that we're often not alone in whatever it is that we may be feeling. Our feelings are valid. And what I found really interesting is that there are different ways the universe sends help our way. And when that help comes, we really should grab it with both hands. On a personal front, I just want to remind everybody that feelings of burnout, frustration, overwhelmed, or just bewilderment are valid, and we should reach out to friends. Please know that you can always reach out to me. Sometimes talking to a complete stranger helps. Disclaimer, I'm not a professional, but I can definitely be a sympathetic ear. My email is thisqueensays@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for listening. Until next time.